Okay, I'll show you what a computer looks like. Of course, it looks like this. This is a pretty old one. And in the back side, you got these. And the way to open it, in this case, is so now you're looking at the inside of a computer. So let's get a closer look. So what you're looking at, let's first talk about the CPU. This is the CPU, but this is the fan you're looking at. But inside the fan, under the fan, you will have CPU. Let me open it. Here we go. This is the where this processor is. And then this also comes out. So of this, only this part is the CPU. All these are just pins to connect to this. Now this part is called the socket, where the CPU goes. So normally the CPU goes in here. You see this notch here, triangle here? The notch goes to this notch. So it sits like this. Then you lock it, and then you hook this in here, and then the fan turns. Then that's how the CPU works. Alright, so let's just leave it out. So now the next thing we'd like to look at is the memory. So this is the memory chip that we have here. So it's normally in a socket like this. So when you pull both sides like this, it comes out like that. There's this little notch that you have to align with this notch. Then it will go in, and then you press it down, and then it is installed. There's room for one more here. So that's the CPU, that's the memory. And then this is the power supply. The power connects here, you see. And the fan turns to provide ventilation and cooling. And then this is the whole bunch of power that comes out of the power supply. Then goes into motherboard like this. This is an old computer, so new ones look somewhat different. And then this is the expansion port. I didn't plug in anything here, but here you would put different cards, video cards. If you want to have 4 monitors, for example, once you put the card here, it will come out through here. So you will be able to. So this is expansion. There are different types, but this is called the expansion port. And then hard drives will go here. It's hard to see. Well, somewhere inside here. I will show you in another. Here is a Dell computer, and you know what it looks like. Here's the front. There's a CD drive, and if you look back, here are the power plug-ins. So now you know this is power supply, and then here are the expansion ports, and so on. But inside you will see it looks about the same. So I'll pull this here and open this. I pull here and open the cover. Now let's look inside. The idea is the same. The CPU is here. This is the fan, and this is a much heavier duty cooling, so that's why it looks so massive. But if you dig deep inside, if you open this up, then you will see inside you have this, and the CPU is this big. That's it. So such a small thing can hold billions of transistors, and it does all the computing we need. So that's the CPU part. And this is the memory. So here, obviously, I have more memory, but number itself doesn't tell you how big it is because they have different capacities. And here's the expansion port I was telling you about. In this case, I have something plugged in, so you see them coming out here. So these are the expansion that I plugged in to here, the port I was showing you. So essentially they are the same thing. Now I'd like to show you here, you can see the disk drive much easier. So these are disk drives here. In this case, it's the data cable and the power cables come out easily like that. When I hold it like this, I can pull out the hard drive. So if your hard drive crashes, you need a bigger one. You just buy one, attach these harness on top of it, and then plug in, and then you connect these cables, and that's it. And this main green board underneath, on which everything is sitting, this is called motherboard. So when we talk about the motherboard, that's what we're talking about. And here is the CD-ROM drive. Seen from, if you see from the front, it's obviously CD-ROM drive, but that's what it looks like inside. And that's the motherboard. In this old computer, you can see much more clearer. So here's the motherboard on which everything is sitting. So you see, this is pretty old, but still, you see, the idea didn't change. There's a room for the CPU, room for the memory, and then there's a hard drive somewhere, and then there's the expansion port. So that's how the computer is made. So you buy all these things separately, and then you assemble them, and then it works.